So, how we doing, family? It's your boy, Yo, and this is another episode of YoHoops. I go through every NBA game every day. Today's Friday, March 20th, and we have a 6-game NBA card. I'm going to walk you through my thoughts and let you know what sides I like, so please leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and let me know your favorite game in the comment section below. Without further ado, let me get into today's games. Recap yesterday, I basically broke even. I went 4-4 on the 8-game card. Of course there's a little juice, so it is what it is, but overall, can't complain. I'm now 74-70 on every game played in March. I'm confident we're going to stack a few wins tonight. In our first matchup of the evening, we have the New York Knicks in Brooklyn taking on Brooklyn Nets. Knicks are minus 2,200 on the money line, and the total is 215. We can't even call this a rivalry because the Knicks have owned these boys. They've won the last 11 straight meetings dating back to February of 2023. The situation for Brooklyn's even worse tonight because Michael Porter Jr. and Noah Clowney are both ruled out. Of course, I expect the Knicks to win this game, but 18 points is a blowout from start to finish. I mentioned that New York has dominated this series, but they've only covered this line in 2 of the last 10. With the Nets this banged up, I'm not rushing to the window to bet with them, but to me, 18 points feels like too many, especially with Josh Hart out. The Knicks also haven't been dominant on the road, so I see an opportunity for a backdoor cover. I'll lean to the Nets plus 18 is my first selection of the evening. Up next, we have the Golden State Warriors in Detroit taking on the Detroit Pistons. Pistons are minus 225 on the money line, and the total is 217. The Pistons come into this one on the second leg of a back-to-back, flying from Washington, D.C. back home to Detroit. They blew out the Wizards last night, so they were somewhat able to conserve minutes. I still expect rest to play a factor, and like I mentioned yesterday, I'm not as high on Detroit without Cade Cunningham. Yeah, they handled the Wizards, but in general, they don't have a ton of facilitators, and the shooters they do have are streaky. They do play solid team defense, but I am worried moving forward. The Warriors have a few guys back like DeAndre Melton and Pat Spencer. I expect a competitive game where the Warriors give themselves a chance to win it down the stretch. Jalen Duren is a beast, but I'm telling you guys, I can't trust Tobias Harris and Duncan Robinson to get me dominant wins. I'm taking the Dubs plus a 5.5 as my next selection of the evening. Up next, we have the Atlanta Hawks in Houston taking on Houston Rockets. Rockets are minus 150 on the money line, and the total is 228. The Hawks are currently one of the hottest teams in the league. They come into this one on an 11-game win streak. Granted, they did have a pretty light schedule, but I like what I'm seeing, especially from their offense. This would be a good bounce back spot for the Rockets at home, but when I was looking through their numbers, I noticed they're now the worst home team in the league, 12-21 against the spread. I wanted to find a way to be on the Rockets, but they don't have enough scoring in their lineup for me to want to jump in front of the Hawks. I'm taking Atlanta plus a 3 as my next selection of the evening. In our next matchup, we have the Boston Celtics in Memphis taking on Memphis Grizzlies. Celtics are minus 1,200 on the money line, and the total is 229. The Grizzlies are able to hang around because teams don't really take them seriously, but the Celtics have been locked in since Jason Tatum returned to the lineup. I was looking through some career numbers, and the team has a record of 396 and 194 in every game that Tatum's played. They're winning at a 67% clip. That's pretty impressive. Of course, Memphis is already playing through a ton of injuries. End of the day, I can't see them keeping up with the Celtics even if they are at home. Sure, there's a chance for the backdoor cover, so I'm isolating this one to the first half. I'm taking the Celtics laying the 9 in the first half as my next selection of the evening. Up next, we have the Portland Trailblazers in Minnesota taking on Minnesota Timberwolves. Wolves are minus 125 on the money line, and the total is 231.5. I already don't trust the Wolves at home, and they're still playing without Anthony Edwards. They did look good in their last couple games, but that was against the Jazz and the Suns who are still banged up. The Blazers are at full strength, and I trust guys like Drew Holiday and Denny Advia to run my offense. With the Wolves, they're just going to play through Julius Randle, and I don't see them having the pace to keep up with Portland. I'm taking the Blazers on the money line as my next selection of the evening. In our next matchup, we have the Toronto Raptors in Denver taking on the Denver Nuggets. Nuggets are minus 285 on the money line, and the total is 238. To keep it short, I trust the Nuggets in the Mile High City. They haven't had their best season at 16-16 against the spread, but considering they've been without Jokic and Aaron Gordon, I actually think that's impressive. They're at full strength tonight, and I don't see guys like Brandon Ingram and Scotty Barnes getting me a win in Denver. The momentum probably carries through the fourth, and even with free throws, the Nuggets can win this one by 8. I'm taking Denver laying the 7 as my last and final selection. And that's going to conclude today's video. Thank you so much for tuning in, guys. I'm now 74-70 on every game played in March. Let's end the week with a bang. I appreciate all of the support so much. I do this every day for free, so please leave a like and subscribe to the channel. It's your boy, Yo! And until the next one, I'ma catch y'all. Peace.